Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Cameron Clarkson. On today's episode of Bottomless Book Sales, we're going to look at how to target people for a nonfiction historical memoir, in particular, an African American history historical memoir. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, so today we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna look at how to set up your Facebook ad targeting to reach people who are interested in historical nonfiction books. This case, an African American historical nonfiction book. But before we get into that, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure that you click the link below and get subscribed. We're just getting started and we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming down in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you click the link below and get subscribed. All right, let's jump into it. So the question today came from Hope and Ron Lax. Ron Lax is the author of The Untold Story of Henrietta Lacks. So if you haven't checked that book out, definitely check it out. Hope's question was, what's the best way to set up your Facebook targeting, your Facebook ad targeting to reach people who would be interested in a historical memoir, particularly a historical memoir about an influential woman like Henrietta Lacks, who is obviously an African American. So African American historical memoir. The number one way that you could immediately improve your targeting for any type of book is to be more specific. That is to narrow down who it is that you're targeting. So when you log into the Facebook ad dashboard and you have the option to choose different interests, behaviors, or demographic information, Facebook also offers you the opportunity to narrow your audience further. Most authors, most people advertising on Facebook don't take advantage of that, and they leave their audience broad. Some people doing it on purpose, some people just not knowing what they're doing, right? So for a book that is particularly about African American history, we want to set up what's called interest layers for our audience. Okay, so I have I'm going to share my screen real quick from my iPad. Let's see here. Okay, so when you set up your targeting, your interest-based targeting on Facebook, I would first recommend setting up targeting to target people who are interested in African American history. Okay, so not everything is targetable on Facebook. You used to be able to target people based on their Black behavior, which is really just Facebook's way of letting you target Black people directly. They got rid of that due to some backlash and political stuff, but you can definitely still be very deliberate in your targeting of Black people. And one of the best ways to do that is to target things like African American culture, African American history. That way you're also getting people who are consciously involved in African American Black things, right? So what you want to do here is start with a broad interest like African American history or reading or books, right? And you want to make sure that in that layer, you're targeting people who are interested in reading or books. Very simple, right? So in our first layer, we're making sure that we target people who are interested in African American history. And with our next layer, we're making sure that we're targeting people who are interested in books. What do we have so far? We are targeting people who are interested in both African American history and reading. We can narrow our audience further by targeting people who are interested in medical history. Okay, and that might not be something that we need to do because Henrietta Lacks' story is one that is it crosses out of the medical field. But if you wanted to really focus in on the people who would definitely be interested in the untold story of Henrietta Lacks, that's another way that you could narrow your audience further, right? So the big thing here with your interest-based audiences is to be specific and to get creative with the layers of interest that you set up. Now, there is another way to target people who are interested in Henrietta Lacks. This book has the advantage of being about someone who is famous and who is a cultural icon. Therefore, there are a lot of groups, there are a lot of pages, and there's obviously another very famous book written about Henrietta Lacks. So instead of only doing interest-based targeting, you have the ability to use a tool like Lead Enforce. Okay, and Lead Enforce, um, let me pull that up for you real quick. So Lead Enforce allows you to not only target people just on their interests, behaviors, and demographic information, but you can also target people who are in particular groups, or people who have responded to particular events, or people who like certain pages. This is a really cool tool if you're just getting started and you want to borrow an audience from your competitor. Use those audience to create your lookalike audiences, and that's a great way to quickly find your ideal readers. Now, this tool can be a little bit pricey, especially if you're getting started. So this is one of the advantages of working with me, because I already have the software, so you can get your audiences set up through me. But Lead Enforce is an absolutely amazing tool. And one more tool that I want to show you to help you identify interest to layer and to get creative with your audience selection is called Interest Explorer. Interest Explorer and Lead Enforce are two of the most important tools that I use for any ads that I set up. But if you want to get really in depth and target interest that your competition and other authors don't know about, Lead Enforce is the tool for you to check out. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. If you're not subscribed, make sure you click the link below and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're just getting started, and I'm really excited to share all the information and cool things that we've got coming down the pipeline this year and going into next year. So click the link below, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time.